Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 101 of the Heartily Millennial podcast, where we are young, dumb, and full of
opinions. Times two.
Ooh. Today, we have a new little trio on for you guys. I have Justin and Vince with me today.
A new dynamic, a fresh perspective.
And I'm so excited for this. I feel like this has been a long time coming, and I think Vince and I usually bounce off each other pretty good.
We vibe pretty well,
We do.
especially conversationally. So
I feel like upon our first meeting a few years ago, we clashed a little bit more in ideology, and just because of the way that the world is changing and our country is changing, we're a little bit more in line, and I'm actually excited to see how we mesh.
yeah, it's been a couple of years, I think, since we've really gotten down and gotten to some meat and potatoes of, our surroundings and the world we live in. So I do remember, when first you came upon my door, you were fresh from California. You still had some pretty left ideologies, some pretty left perspectives. And,
To be fair, in the words of Danny, to be fair,
To be fair,
this was before half the country lost their goddamn mind and showed their true colors in a psychopath election. That'll change anybody. I think we're all a little bit shaken up from that.
the great psyop of 2016, ladies and gentlemen.
So why don't we just go ahead and start out with pedophiles today?
Wow,
really
we're diving
quick
right
though,
in. Okay.
Vince, do me a favor and just move slightly closer. You don't have to reposition yourself, but just move
he
your
did.
chair closer.
I
to
just
the
did,
mic.
Adam. I've repositioned myself.
I'm sorry.
Is this better for you?
You know what? Let me tell you guys, I am horrible with sound. So I have a friend, Josh. Shout out to you, Josh. And every now and then, Josh. You did a play with him
Yeah, I
back
remember
in
Josh.
him school.
Yeah.
And so every
Dude
now
is-
and
dude
then.
is looking good.
Oh,
By the way, if you're listening, Josh, you look freaking great.
Yeah,
now,
dude, he lost a lot of
Good
weight.
job, yeah.
Well, he listens to every podcast, so
Really?
yeah, he let me know
well,
that
hey, man,
late into
yeah.
it.
It's been a hot minute.
But he'll text me every now and then after listening to a podcast. So he'll be like, "So I think you need to do this, and maybe if you tried this and everything." And I always have to tell him "Dude, I hate sound. I hate sound for this fucking reason because you're right. All these things need to get done, and every time I try to do something, there's something
Yeah.
else that happens."
What's his name?
But Josh.
Yeah.
Hey, Josh, if you have any way to make me sound less of a queer on the air, I'd love that. I'd like to sound like a man, like
Nobody's-
my friends.
Nobody
Justin,
can help that.
No, I disagree. There's Gary Busey voice emulators out there, man.
I want to sound like Gary Busey.
You run your voice through a Gary Busey emulator, there's no way you can sound anything less than macho.
All right, so you just had to do it, Josh.
Anyways, you were talking about pedophiles.
Yes.
Justin?
Okay. Okay. I have been anxious to just talk about what's going on right now in the media and just in general what's going on around this subject. And I mean, I can't imagine why, but no one ever wants to talk about pedophiles with me. So I'm gonna force you two to do that with me now.
Do it.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know too much about the Epstein stuff going on right now, but still fresh in my mind is when WikiLeaks included the Podesta emails. I perused a good amount of those
Are you
because
talking about Pizzagate?
Pizzagate,
Yes.
the whole thing, and I was. This was back in the days when I used to frequent 4chan. And, they were the ones who kind of helped break this thing open wide. And I felt like this, 4chan had done a lot of shit by this point. They had a rap sheet a mile long.
Mm-hmm.
So I was hoping that this was going to be it. I was hoping that 4chan, after, hacking polls and, spamming local radio stations and even getting on the news in certain cases,
Right.
I was hoping they were going to crack pedophilia in DC wide open. But it was because they did it that it was so easy to discredit and shove under the table. They shot themselves in their own foot by breaking this open, I feel like, because there was a lot of damning information in this case. If a different media, sadly one with a more reputable outlet, had covered this, I guarantee it would have gotten a lot more traction.
So what I found interesting about that is there was the whole the coding, right?
Yeah.
So pizza for girls, hot dog for boys, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the thing that really seemed, for whatever reason, to this day I cannot figure it out, but what really seemed to discredit all of quote-unquote Pizzagate was the fact that it was supposed to take place in this pizza place in the basement, but the fact that The fact that the place didn't have a basement is what people went, oh, so this can't even be real, fake news. But what if basement was also a freaking code word? It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
It
might not have even been a code word, man. If this is a place that high-powered politicians frequented for that purpose, do you think that place would have registered on its like coding that it even had a fucking basement?
Yeah.
No.
Right.
It's
No, it
really
wouldn't.
easy to take things that are very easy to be proven true and just say they're not based on who what outlet put it out there. And I mean, obviously it'd be huge if this was blown off,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Because a lot of people would be involved in it.
This would be bad.
Slight segue, I do remember seeing this video on YouTube, and it's Podesta torturing a kid.
Oh,
and you can literally hear his
Well,
voice.
I was gonna say, hold on, because like you don't.
No.
You showed us this video, Vince.
I did.
And I was gonna say, so like,
No, you did not show me this video.
No,
No,
I
I didn't
showed you
show,
this
yeah.
video, but like
So
allegedly,
you got it through me, I guess. That's how weird it went.
allegedly, it's Podesta. Just to be clear, you don't see Podesta
Right,
on
I
tape.
just said that.
But the voice that's on there
Yeah.
just creepily sounds like it could.
All
be
you
Podesta.
have to
Exactly.
do is YouTube some pretty candid videos of John Podesta talking about whatever inane bullshit he's on YouTube for, and then listen to the audio from this tape. And let me tell you, if you got a brain in your head, I'm not telling you to believe it just because the audio sounds similar, but you know deep down that's the same. Fucking
Yeah.
Well,
voice.
and
come on.
And having said that, go ahead and explain what this video is for people who aren't familiar.
It is pretty much the voice of someone who sounds exactly like Podesta. I'm
Mind you,
convinced it is.
you don't, just for clarification for everybody, you don't see torture happening in this video.
But you hear a screaming child. It's
You
very
see,
it's like
convincing.
somebody
no,
was-
you see a silhouette behind glass, and then you hear, you hear the
It's a tough video
the
to
tortured
watch,
screaming
yeah.
of whatever young child, even if it's a hoax. I've no, that kid screaming, no.
Yeah, it was a pretty hard video to watch. But basically, behind like a glass, which looks like inside of a nightclub or some shit, there's a lot of like flashing colored lights and stuff. You hear the sound of an older man verbally, torturing this child, and then
what the content of the video allegedly was from the sources who found it was some sort of shower stall that they were inside of a condo of some sorts.
Yeah.
Where it isn't really known that well, but it's very darkly lit. And apparently what happened was the individual filming had the child in like a shower sort of contained area with the glass, because you can hear the sound of running water.
Yeah.
And apparently that's the sound of a child when they're under scalding hot water.
Is
And
that what it's supposed to be? Yeah.
that's the point of the thing, is to keep them under the hot water until submission.
Oh my gosh.
So
So
obviously there'd be a lot going on. There were, I believe it was 2016, where were it's the New York Post, okay, the nonpartisan, non-opinionated outlet, okay, not the New York Times, which leans very, very left. It was the New York Post, and in this New York Post article, a lot of journalists are really obsessed with the whole Epstein thing that happened back in the day when he was charged with counts of child molestation, trafficking, and such.
Yeah.
And they ended up giving him this ridiculous deal. I'm not sure if you guys have heard about this. This happened a few years ago. They gave him like 15 months, okay, in prison. No, not prison, sorry, jail. 15 months in jail. But they also gave him this deal where he could leave prison for up to 12 hours a day if he was going to be working.
yeah.
So
a lot of prisons and jails have work release programs.
right,
now,
so
yeah.
but 12 hours, and he
Yeah.
went to his not Key Largo, Palm Beach office for 12 hours a day to work while he was in jail for 15 months, okay? So this is a ridiculous deal. And a lot of these journalists and lawyers and advocates were very much obsessed with the fact that how did this person get away with it, okay? This person who gave him this deal was the Secretary of the Labor, something or other, under Donald Trump right now.
Okay.
His
But this
Acosta, last name Acosta.
Oh, I know who you're talking. Jim Acosta, yeah.
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 Anyway, so and he hadn't questioned about it. He's going to get questioned about it now. But anyhow, this is what happened then with Epstein. So no one's let this go. Everyone's been pretty obsessed with this. A lot of different people. So now it's been turned over to U.S. courts and it's blown the fuck up. And he's now indicted. He's going to be in jail, most likely till he's dead.
Yeah.
Okay. But what's crazy about this is they've raided his home. Okay, all of them, and he has his own island, Little Saint Thomas. Okay, it's in the Caribbean. And this is where he'd have a lot of very high profile people come in and pretty much have like sex orgies and molest underage girls. Boys too, I'm sure. I don't know what's going to come out.
There were former presidents that were visitors to this little private island.
Dude, even Stephen Hawking.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. And not saying that everybody who went there molested kids. I mean, it could have just been a party for this guy.
You have your in crowd, and then you have your regular. You have to build a reputation, because if everyone who's ever been there had an orgy, whenever the subject came up, there would just be shifty eyes. You have to have a couple people with alibis.
Yeah, of course.
So anyhow, I mean, when you have all these people going, and apparently what he did is he would set up these surveillance cameras and he'd videotape everything.
Yeah,
so then,
of course.
So then he'd have blackmail so that nobody would then turn him in.
Yes.
Okay? So the thing is, there's a lot of people that aren't child molesters that went to this island. And so how do we know until they really release this film? I think we're going to know, because they may not release the film, but they are going to indict the people who are in the film.
Justin, I just want to add real quick. You know what makes me sad?
What?
The amount of hope that you have that this is actually going to get blown wide open. I am honestly... Like I said, man, I thought Pizzagate was going to do it, but it didn't. Now, mind you, this is an FBI raid.
And these are videos.
And that's the problem. That right there is the problem right now. If you don't think there are going to be a very, very soon large transfers of money happening from fucking, what's it called? Like off-coast, offshore accounts to deal, air quotes, with this situation, we're about to see a lot of money coming into the United States and going to parties who would benefit keeping this shit under wraps.
I would believe that if, I hate to say it, Donald Trump was not in the presidency. Okay, I don't think he's enough. I don't think he's gonna fuck with it.
Don't get the shit twisted. I support this presidency. I'm not your standard MAGA hat wearing guy, but I believe in this administration more so than I did the last one. Not to say I'm getting off track. But anyway, the whole point I was trying to make is that I don't believe that this is going to be the thing that breaks it open, because you still have people who are under, not oath, but I guess a certain level of financial fealty within agencies such as the CIA and the FBI, NSA, that are still working for and in the back pockets of certain politicians.
I think if it wasn't going to get blown wide open, it would have stopped in 2016. The fact that journalists were able to get this going again, that to me has hope, because that means that no one's going to let this go. This man did, in fact, molest young girls. Hundreds, okay? Many, many hundreds of young girls. Someone's getting in trouble for this. And, I mean, I don't know if you know already, but there's two people in particular that I'd love to see go to jail.
If something does happen, you're only going to see maybe a minimum of 2 or 3 people that they have lined up as patsies that are going to go for this.
Oh, and I'm cool with that.
Those people will be dead before they ever list other people's names. You know what I mean?
I'd actually be cool with that, because I don't think it's going to stop there. I think that there's going to be some journalists that's going to make it their lifelong work to make sure this happens. It's going to spread, because sunlight is the best disinfectant, and we're seeing a lot of sunlight right now. It's getting blown up right now.
That's also a problem, because heads are going to roll over this, and I mean literally.
Not mine.
No, not yours, but a lot of heads are gonna fall because of this incident.
At least they'll fall in public. I mean, what about all the people that were related, like the Clintons, who were dying and stuff like that no one would even hear about? I feel like with this being such a... Look, if we can at least get Bill Clinton under fire, I think the general public is going to now not trust anybody, because everyone loves Bill. Everyone loves Bill.
I think that's the issue, and why I think I agree more with Vince in regards to this not getting blown as wide open as you think. And I think it's a perfect example is just what's happening with politics, right? Social politics right now. What side of the fence people sit on. It's about public opinion.
Yeah.
And what we're seeing right now is a lot of people from both sides, a lot of extremists from both sides, willing to ignore any facts or statistics or just that cold hard facts that are given to them because it differentiates from their narrative and the party that they affiliate themselves with.
Yes.
So unfortunately, with something like this, that might be more something involved with the Democrats more than the conservatives or Republicans, because you have this group of it's like the Russian what was it called, the Russian collusion thing, right? You know, we were given the facts that like the guy came out and was like, hey,
were never
guess what?
given facts.
Or not the facts, but the guy came out and was like, hey, guess what? We found no collusion. We've done this investigation for 2 years and there's no collusion. And you still had the Democrats going, no, there was still collusion. So I feel like you're going to kind of get the same thing with this new pedophilia thing happening,
a lot of
where people are going to be
residual
coming
fallout,
out and be like, hey, guess what? We found a bunch of shit. It's a bunch of Democrats. And you have the Democrats going, no, we don't do that.
If there are
that.
videos that are undeniable, like blackmailable evidence, no, heads are going to roll. I think a lot of the biggest names that are in that volume are going to walk away scot-free. And I think the people who would even think about ratting on those people probably get Sicilian suicide.
But the problem is you're never going to, regardless if they come out and we're like, hey, we saw Bill Clinton on this video touching little girls and little boys, unless the video gets released online for people to see, which it never will. I mean, I guess in these times
not until
could,
pedophilia has been completely normalized into society.
Right, but like,
and then it'll be like clip of the week on fucking Tosh.0.
But what I'm saying though is if they just say like, hey, if somebody just comes out and says like, hey, guess what? We have this footage. We know Clinton did it, or we know whoever did it.
Yeah.
You're gonna have people, especially while Trump's in office, going, oh, this is all just Trump and his administration.
No, they won't, because they're going to indict him. They're going. If there is if there is evidence, they are going to fucking indict him. Doesn't matter what anybody thinks. Okay.
Right.
There's no. If the Supreme Court, okay, if it even goes to them, they see evidence. It doesn't matter what the Democrats say. He's gonna get in fucking trouble. It's gonna be the same with anybody else. The only issue is, can they get enough information out there to indict the people?
Right, but I'm not saying that they're not going to get indicted, but I'm saying I don't think it's going to help as far as preventing further incidences happening like this in the Democratic Party if they are the main players in this, while everything that's going on is going on. So they can indict anybody who they want, but you're not going to have Democrats, I think, losing faith in the Democratic Party or losing faith in the current politicians that they believe in simply because of something like this.
I'll tell you they will.
I'll tell you
no.
Here's the logical conclusion to how this is going to go. They're gonna find those tapes. They probably already have. They're gonna go through them. They're gonna sift everything. They're gonna make a report, and they're gonna release it on September 21st.
Why are we having September 21st?
Because the day following September 20th, there's gonna be a mass casualty incident out in the Nevada desert.
Oh my gosh, you're about the storming Area 51.
If people actually do that, there will be blood. I promise you.
Oh, nobody is, though. They're going to get 100 people out there tops.
And they're going to be really scared.
Yeah.
Adam, if you don't think there are people who are within this organization that are going to be a part of this group and a part of recruiting and have a lot of facts and information about actually storming the place and maybe rally, I don't know, not 200,000, even if it was only 1,000. That's still a lot of fucking people.
I just don't.
It's going to be 50.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't.
And they're all going to have, like, lightsabers.
Well, because, dude,
we're in the Tide Pod generation. There are kids that might actually do
but the
it.
problem,
yeah, but they can't afford cars to get to Area 51.
But the problem is, like, this all was,
Ubers.
I remember seeing the original event invite as it was passed around Facebook before the memes were born from it. And it was...
Adam was flashing his meme cred, right?
And it was not even. This was literally just the Facebook event invite. And I believe it literally said something along the lines of, like, like Naruto run, like the words Naruto run were literally in the event invite. Okay, like it was all a joke to start. I just don't think so. I think you're gonna get 50, 100 people. Even if you get 1,000 people showing up, dude, it's gonna be fucking nothing.
Not only that, but come on. The government screens the internet. They're gonna have people ready just to be like,
Well,
y'all are idiots. You're not gonna come in here.
If they're gonna try and deter them, then yeah, they're gonna use your standard propaganda bombings on fucking internet forums and whatnot, on Facebook. But if it's not, and this is is meant to be an incident, they're gonna have people on the insides monitoring the forums and Facebook. So either way this goes, you can assure that when people start talking about raiding a top secret facility, that's gonna raise some red flags. You're seeing it being covered on the news right now. Now,
is it being covered on the news?
It is. Oh, it is. Because I've been back in the gym recently. Oh, yeah, my face has been in the news screens again. I've been watching the Talking Heads recently, so I've gone slightly mad. I'm seeing what's happening in the world again, and I gotta say, folks, I'm pissed. We almost went to a war with Iran because of some shady nonsense they were doing with uranium. And whatever happened with that.
It's not nonsense. It's pretty serious.
No, it was pretty serious because they were threatening to, go over the pre-agreed upon amount of uranium enrichment, and then they did.
That's not what it was.
They attacked.
There was an alleged attack on.
It's not alleged. It came out of the Pentagon. It was them.
It was an attack. Okay.
It was an attack. The thing is, there was no blood shed at shooting down our drone.
Okay.
So that's when Trump said, you know what? The possibility of bloodshed is too high for a drone.
I read something along the lines of like the president was shown a damage analysis of the area that they were going to bomb, essentially. And that was when he called off the strike because he saw what the casualty radius was going to be. But I find a little interesting to think that the president didn't know about this beforehand.
Know about what?
About this plan and whatever plans there were in the event of an
It wasn't
Iran
like they formulated it and then they were getting to do it and then said no, stop, as they were evaluating.
Well, the president
whether
has
or
to
not.
approve that plan in the first place,
Yeah.
and to think he wouldn't be briefed on what the casualty fallout would be.
He was briefed on it. That's when it ended.
So he had a change of heart. Then essentially took his finger off the button.
No, it wasn't. People make it sound like it almost happened and they were going to do it, and he was a hero and was I will not do it.
No one's saying that.
That's trust me, that's what people are making it sound like. I'm hearing it everywhere.
Okay.
No, when he
all I hear is about, oh man, he almost got us into nuclear war.
First off, it's not going to be nuclear war because they don't have a fucking nuke. But the problem is, we need to make sure they do not have a nuke. Iran cannot fucking have nukes.
We stomped a mud hole in Iraq's ass for less. I'm just saying.
Well, yeah, but he also voted against the war in Iraq. He didn't believe that there was nukes in Iraq. He was against the war in Iraq. It was Hillary, by the way, who voted for the war in Iraq.
I know that one.
So, Iran cannot get fucking nukes, okay? And they're trying to focus on nuclear energy, regardless of the fact that they have some of the highest oil reserves and some of the highest, fossil fuels, okay? But they want to all of a sudden just focus on nuclear power, even though most of their fucking country doesn't have goddamn electricity. They're liars. So they cannot get a nuke. The problem is, when do you say, all right, we're going to attack you now? Do we wait until our lives are shed on our side? So hopefully we just have the intel. I don't know how that works exactly. But no, it was not alleged. They shot down 2 tankers of our allies. Okay, but first shot down our... No. I don't know if it's first or right after. Shot down our drone.
Yeah.
Now, Iran is saying that the drone was within their
airspace, their fucking AO, yeah.
So they were allowed to do it. Okay, but they're trying to say that there's no way they were the ones that shot down the tankers because one of them was Japan and they were meeting with Japan to try to cut a deal. But the Pentagon says it. And I kind of believe the Pentagon, no offense to anybody else, but if they say it, I'm going to believe them over Iran. I just am.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Any country that gives any type of stock to a religious fanatic, even portion of their government, loses, especially if it's an old world country. If it's a country that is not westernized, sorry, but fuck you. I don't believe you for shit.
So, okay, back full circle. When you're talking about countries like that, how do you feel about the Vatican?
I think it's disgusting.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Vatican since we're back on the subject of pedophilia.
Oh, the
now.
Vatican's gnarly. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
God has left the building.
How much do you know about the history of the Vatican and Vatican City?
I don't know a whole lot about the history, but I do know what I've kind of. I'm not sure what I thought.
You look a little sheepish here. Well, like what? Dude, we just talked about pedophilia. Like,
Yeah, I think that has a lot. I think that's
Yeah.
going on in the Vatican.
Oh yeah. Oh,
I think that's
absolutely.
going on now in the Vatican. I think
it's like a haven for clergymen who have been caught. Basically.
I think it's worse.
You think it's actively still perpetuating?
Not even just the clergy. I think it's a place where stuff like that is. You know what? Let's just bypass that all.
Why?
Why? No. You why, okay.
I personally feel that pedophilia is something that a lot of people suffer with.
Yes.
Okay? A lot of people.
Yeah.
And I think that it's a spectrum. And I think that, I think there are some people that are only attracted to prepubescent kids. There are some people who are only attracted to adult women.
It's like a niche thing, essentially.
And there are some people who are attracted to adult women and prepubescent kids. There are some people who are post-pubescent age of consent, and also normal people.
Okay.
I think it's not necessarily a very binary thing, but it doesn't matter because any of that is fucking gross. So where would you not think that this kind of behavior is facilitated? And it's a very secretive place. And I just feel that's how it is. We had a freaking Pope quit, okay?
Pedophilia, though, I can assure you, while it is a first world problem, it's daily life in third world nations.
Yeah.
I've personally had to bear witness to certain things like that in my time overseas.
What country?
Afghanistan.
Okay.
Yep. There was a specific incident where we had to stop a vehicle going along a trade route, and we were stopping every vehicle going along that trade route that day, and we're looking for, suspicious peoples or, suspicious cargo, essentially. And we ended up having to stop this one vehicle who it was just children. Children of all different nationalities, looking like there were a few black ones in there, like, who the hell are these kids and why is there a truck full of them coming through this trade route? Mm-hmm. Needless to say, this dude was detained and the kids were, I think they were taken to I think it was like an ANA facility or something like that. Mm-hmm. Afghan National Army facility or police facility or something, but I don't remember the specifics of it. But just the thought of that happening was like, holy fuck. Not to mention some of the stories that, the interpreters told us, sort of about the local customs and things like that. Like, apparently it's commonplace for a little boy to be just tossed around by grown men on public transportation. Like, there are boys out there, like most men out there at some point in their life have been molested.
But see, given
that's just daily life, though.
And see,
there's a certain age you're supposed to grow
well,
past
yeah.
it.
Well,
yeah.
and this is a really taboo thing to talk about. But I truly think it should not be a taboo thing to talk about, because as we've just been talking about now, as what's getting blown off the lid about the higher ups in politics,
yeah,
or what you've just said is daily life over there in the Middle East, or at least Afghanistan where you were.
Yeah,
we're getting to this point to where we have demonized pedophilia so much, and it should be demonized, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But you've demonized this thing so much to where people don't want to believe it exists. And the thing is, it exists everywhere and exists tenfold.
It is an ugly thing, but yeah, it does happen.
Now there is a lot of evidence and statistics to show that people who end up sexually abusing adolescent boys or girls were usually victims themselves when they were younger, and then they grow up and then they end up doing it to somebody younger when they're adults, right?
Not every case, but most.
Not every case,
well,
but most cases.
It's a possibility. It's very likely.
Yes, yes, exactly. It's very likely. But we also, I don't think, can deny, especially in this day and age, and I think you were kind of touching on this a little bit, Justin, that if you can be born liking somebody of the same sex, where that is your general attraction, that I don't think it should be ignored that there are unfortunate souls out there who are born with this general attraction to pubescent boys or girls.
Right.
And there was actually an interesting documentary I watched once where there was a gentleman who was, very, very hesitantly, but did come forward to talk to this journalist and was like, I am one of those people. And he even said, he goes, never touched anybody, never done any of that stuff. He goes, and I am attracted to women my age as well. Mm-hmm. But he goes, but that attraction there does exist. Mm-hmm. And the problem I'm not saying it should be normalized, but I don't think it should be demonized, because I do think there are people out there who truly suffer from that strange attraction. And those are the people that need help, that you need to study it, find out, why does this exist? Why is this a matter of, human nature at all?
Yeah. To clarify, pedophilia itself is not what needs to be demonized. It's child sexual abuse that needs to be demonized.
Yes.
So that's the deal here.
But typically, though, a child, like, if you are doing whatever to a child, like, whether you're getting that child to agree to it or not, it's abuse. So there's no gray line.
Absolutely.
There.
No, what I'm saying is, I think it's great that somebody who is a pedophile never commits sexual abuse to a child, never touches a child. I think it takes a lot of self-control, and I respect that. So I think that if we're able to talk about the fact that this is a condition, right? This is a mental health issue. Yeah. Then we can do things like, I know this is going to sound really, really far-fetched, right? But if they have pedophile communities, right, that support each other, hear me out.
Sorry, yeah. No.
Maybe there can be like pedophile day at the beach where no children go to the beach, or maybe if you have friends who are pedophiles, so and
you're talking about like the controlled burn equivalent, or like the pedophile equivalent of a controlled burn, basically.
Yes.
Like an open forum where these people can congregate and hopefully not mobilize as a mob and steal all the children in the area.
That's two different issues. Pedophilia doesn't mean that you're, a mob mentality that's going to go and assert yourself, because then that's also you're a rapist.
What if you get them all in one area, though? Then what happens?
Well, aggression was never something that's used to describe a pedophile per se. But they don't have to go hand in hand.
They don't have to, but most commonly they do.
Well, because they're pent up over years, and then it explodes because they don't have anyone to talk to.
And that's what I was gonna say. I think a lot of it has to do with just the feeling of being alone. There's not anybody to talk to. I mean, you being a gay man, you've told me stories to where like you felt a lot better growing up and meeting other gay people and being able to talk to people about.
That's the thing. When you first come out to someone, you only want to be around that person all the time, because now you can talk to that person. Mm-hmm. You have an outlet for. And it's when you have no one to talk to that you meet people on their internet and have sex with the first person. I mean, this hasn't happened to me, but I know a lot of people. It's the first person that gave you any attention. Yeah. So you're willing to do literally anything kind of gay with them or sexual, because finally you have an outlet, regardless if this person is a predator, if this person is extremely unattractive to you.
It's a basic level of communication. As somebody who grew up with the internet, I had that in spades. Not necessarily, meeting pedophiles or anything like that, but that level of communication that I didn't have with people in my household.
Right. And I did not grow up with the internet. So, well, later in life I did. I was learning it when all of you were fluent, Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I didn't have that. So, I was literally the kid that looked up sex.com when I wanted to know what pop
you and every other male, yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
of
good.
Course, dude. Boobs.com, vagina.com.
Okay, good.
Come on, dude. We all tried it.
But what you were saying too about like young gay men who would end up having sex with the first gay guy they connected with on the internet or whatnot, just because it was them who understood them. I think that's what ends up happening to a lot of these people who have this. It's that aggression getting let loose to where all of a sudden you don't have anybody to talk to, and then you find yourself in this weird situation to where all of a sudden you just let out doing that thing. But the problem is just as you said, if you treated it like a mental health thing and people had more forums and such to talk about it, now you're able to sit there and say, okay, why do you feel like this? Why is this something? What is it about it that makes you attracted to it? And you're able to and who knows, there might be some crazy underlining problem that is totally over all of our heads that we didn't even know existed, but we're never going to figure out what that could be
if you don't have an open dialogue.
If you don't have an
about it.
open dialogue.
I
about it.
completely agree, but I still think that we should absolutely demonize sexual abuse of children. That's
Yeah.
But that's, to me, is the fine line. Okay, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's a pedophile pride flag now. Baby
Really?
blue, pink, yellow, and now they're flying it. Here's where I have an issue. They are flying it next to the pride flag.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
When did this start?
Oh, this is recent.
Yeah,
This is very recent.
past
I think
couple
this
years.
is the last like 3 years or so.
So I
So,
have an
wow.
issue.
Whoa,
yeah,
wait,
that's got to
who's-
be like a big middle finger
Big
next to that fucking
time.
flag.
Big time. Because here's the deal.
That and the other 30 letters that follow LGBT, right?
LGBTQIA plus
Yes.
is what they're saying
That's
now.
what it is.
No,
now,
I take
yeah.
all the rest of those as insult.
Yeah, I do. So that's the issue that I'm having is the more that you try to accept the concept because the thing is the pride flag, we are trying to show that our sex is sex between two people, that our relationships are real relationships, and that our love is real love.
Right.
Once you are flying a pedo pride flag under it, you're saying that their love is real love, their sex is good sex, like, fair, normal.
Right.
And it's not. The act is separate from the disorder. You can accept the disorder, but you can't accept the act.
Look, I can understand attraction to a certain degree of the younger gender. I mean, we are
course.
animals. We don't. Our biology doesn't give a shit about numbers.
Well,
or laws.
it's funny you bring that up because I was just gonna say too. I think part of the problem is like right now it's at least here in America, it's basically if you have sex with anybody under the age of 18, it's like, oh, you're a pedophile. No. Like there should be fucking like levels here. There's a lot different somebody having sex with a 17-year-old than somebody having sex with a
that's statutory rape.
9-year-old.
So a pedophilia is technically prepubescent, a child that has not gone through puberty.
Isn't in the eyes of the law though? If it's under 18,
it's
automatically
statutory
looked
rape,
up
not
as-
pedophilia.
Statutory rape applies when there's an age of consent. And when it's at or around the age of consent, then it becomes statutory.
Yes.
If you're
Gotcha,
over, if you
okay.
are over that certain age.
So a 23-year-old student teacher
Right.
having sex with their 8 or 17-year-old senior in high school
Right.
is going to be treated differently than if they had sex with the 6th grader.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not black and
Like,
white.
that,
Statutory rape is different than pedophilia.
like that Phoenix teacher
Gotcha.
who just recently she got canned. I think she ended up getting like 20-something years
Mm-hmm.
for sleeping with a 13-year-old student. Right now they're speculating on whether or not the husband knew about the abuse. Yeah, this was a high profile.
But now,
thing,
but there you go though. That's 13. So is that statutory rape or
no,
is
that is
or
20. Like I
pedophilia?
said, she got 20 years. That's pedophilia,
Right.
brother. Yep.
So where's the cutoff limit at this
Puberty.
point?
Yeah.
It's puberty.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And I
Okay.
believe they do attach a number to it. It might be 15. Actually, do we have a phone?
I have a phone.
I'll look it up while you guys talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, there is definitely a cutoff there. I've looked into that a little bit. But anyway, that's what I'm saying. We need to still vilify villains, but we also need
well, no,
to...
and I agree with you. It's unfortunately, it's like in a perfect world, what I was talking about, the difference between normalizing and demonizing.
Yeah.
It's like, in a perfect world, there would be that difference, but you can't. Unfortunately, in the world we have with flawed humans, you can't have one without the other.
No, you can't. Here's my big thing is I have a lot of friends who have lived very interesting lives and even sex lives at that. I have friends who at the ages of 15 and 16,
Right.
These are girls, were
Yeah.
going on the internet and meeting and having sex with not only 30 to 40-year-old guys, but guys who lived miles away from their
I
home.
had friends like that too. Yeah.
Meeting these people. Where were the fucking parents?
Yeah.
Is what the question always boils down to for me. Do you want your kids doing that?
Right.
No? Then don't fucking let them.
Right.
Well, how can I stop them? Don't give them a fucking tablet. Don't tell them what fucking,
Yeah.
the internet is.
Yeah,
If you don't want your kid doing the shit, don't let them do the shit. It's pretty fucking simple. I mean, yeah, they will try to find a way to do it if they really, really want to do it. Mm-hmm. But
But that's when you turn your kid in.
yep.
Yep.
That is when you say, look, being a good parent is not enough. I need the law's help, and it's okay to
turn
do
your
that.
kid to no. I don't support. No, I don't care what my daughter or my kids ever do. I will never call the cops on my kids.
I would.
No, I wouldn't.
I would absolutely do that.
I'm not going to try to erase what they did unless it's an easily provable revenge homicide. But no, I don't care what my kids do. They'll always have a place in my house. I'll never call the cops on them. I will always let them lay low at my place. My dad always afforded me that opportunity. He always said, CIA, NSA, FBI, doesn't matter.
What if they run away?
What do you mean?
What if your child runs away from you? You're not going to call the cops?
No. Well, of course I'm going to call them. If they leave no note or anything like that, yeah, absolutely. They're missing persons at that point.
What if they leave you a note saying, hey, I'm running away, fuck you? You don't call the cops?
No.
Oh, I wouldn't.
I'm not going to call them. My wife might. No.
I would scare them with the fear of the law.
No, because my dad never used the threat of the law. He always threatened us with homicide. So I figure that's a demon I'll pass along. Why not? But I lived under the threat of death. But knowing now retrospectively, I know my dad was never going to put me in harm's way. He never wanted me in harm's way. But at the same time, he knew I had to learn lessons the hard way, which is why I was granted a certain degree of freedom. To kind of do as I wished. Really growing up at my dad's, we only had one rule, and that was be home by midnight. Or if you're not going to be home by midnight, let me know.
Ours was do everything right or we're going to beat your ass.
Yeah, my dad knew I was going to fuck
Read our mind or we will beat your ass.
Yeah, exactly. Read our minds.
My dad didn't want me sneaking out of the house because that would have caused him a lot of undue fucking stress. So instead of putting that restriction on someone whom he knew being of his flesh and blood was going to break any chain he tried to lash me with, he let me have as much rope as I needed. He always gave me enough rope to hang myself with, though, because when I got in trouble, it always came back to my dad, because it was usually I was out somewhere doing something I shouldn't, and then I fucked up hard.
And I think that all just comes back, as far as the parenting stuff goes, I think that just all comes back to the balance, right? If you're putting too many restrictions on your kid, they're going to be a fucking brat. And if you're putting too little restrictions on your kid, they're going to be a fucking brat.
Yeah, either way. It's all about finding a happy medium.
Yeah, exactly. You have to find that happy medium, and you have to know your kid. I mean, I remember Justin and I met a couple once, and we were talking about in regards to like hitting your kids, spanking your kids, just yelling at them, sending them to time out, those other things. And this couple that had 3 kids at the time were talking about how, they were big advocates of like, yeah, if your kid fucks up, you slap them, you spank them, you do it. You don't beat them. You obviously just discipline them, right, physically. Yeah. But then they were talking about how they have their 3rd child, just that doesn't work. Just period, doesn't work. But they were talking about other things that did work. Like for them, the you can't go out with friends did work for them. You can't do that. So it's like, it's just knowing your kid. And unfortunately, though, I think a lot of parents kind of get stuck in this thing of like, well, I was raised like this, so this is how I'm going to raise my kids, not paying attention to like, well, your kid's not going to, fuck. A weird comparison to use, but I look at like the 2 cats we have, and I joke about it a lot.
Oh yeah.
But like we have one cat that's scared shitless of me because she knows I'll fucking like smack her if she does something wrong. And, if she sees me seeing her doing something, she fucking bolts it. Whereas the other one, if she's doing something wrong and I walk up to her, she fucking just bends over like, oh no, don't hit me. It would be awful if you did that. It's like, so like you can't discipline them the same. Yeah. So it's the same thing with kids. And I think a lot of parents lose sight of that when they have kids. It's like, oh, I have, 5 different kids here. Also, they're not all going to be disciplined the same way.
It's super easy to get complacent as a parent. It's super easy to you find what works and then try to just mine it dry. You have to be mentally flexible when you have kids. Along the lines of what you were talking about, though, when it comes to properly disciplining a kid, it's different for a lot of kids. You have to find what they love and exploit it.
Yeah.
You do. You have to find what drives them, and you have to use it against them. That's just good parenting. Right? And as far as laying hands on your children, look, I am pro hitting your kids. Again, not elbow dropping them from the rafters there, Macho Man Randy Savage. Why don't you chill the fuck out? What I'm talking about is a healthy smack, either across the ass or upside the back of the head.
Yeah.
Now, you know how many times I received a hard restart? That was what I called my dad slapping me upside the back of the head. It was a hard restart. Because if I did or said something really dumb, whack.
Right.
I knew, oh, shit, I fucked up. Nowadays, I get a little twitch in my neck when I'm about to do or say something that I probably shouldn't.
Right.
No, I probably shouldn't do
Well, I
that.
mean, I even looked to like when me and my brother grew up, it was like my dad, when we did do something wrong or whatnot, it was like there was one hard good beating, right? And then after that, all my dad had to do was the snap, right?
Oh, yeah.
Now I was afraid of the snap, because I already got that one good hard beating. So I knew after that snap I was like, okay, you're right, I'm done, because I know what comes next. My brother, however, my dad could be in the middle of disciplining, and my brother would be crying and stuff like that, but it wasn't like making him stop or anything. It was just like, my brother's just a stubborn man. You know him.
Oh, yeah.
He's just a stubborn kid.
Yep.
Very
hard-headed,
but it's like,
but that's how he gets, so far in life.
Yeah,
just with that.
Exactly, 100%. And like no, blame on my dad. My dad's human, but it just goes along my point of like my brother probably had to be disciplined in a different way than I did because I responded to that. My brother did not.
Yeah.
You know.
My dad used to come up to me and like back me into a corner and point his finger at me and like really hit me hard with his finger right in my chest.
I do that. My
Vince
dad did the
loves the
same
finger.
So he used to do that to me, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is,
Vince has conditioned his finger.
I would cower. I would just shrink, right?
Yeah.
And he'd always do this to me, and I'd always think like, why does he always do this to me? Well, he started doing it to my sister, and my sister used to go, what are you going to do? Hit me? You're going to hit an 80-pound girl? Go ahead. You're going to be so whatever. And my dad would just take her, throw her across the room, right? Well, a few years later, I come back, and my dad... And it gives me like PTSD, right? Because I never fought back. I was literally the most perfect child that you could have had. I never talked back. I got very good grades. I can
see the halo over your head.
They didn't know I was like partaking in like recreational substances or whatever. I got great grades. I was home on time.
That doesn't make you a bad person.
Well, to them at the time it would. So
a lot of
then I
parents
come
would, yeah.
home one day to visit, and they do it to my brother. And my brother... he pooped his chest up real big and he goes, let's go, old man. And my dad respected it. And I thought, this is exactly what they mean by nature versus nurture, because that is my stepdad.
Yeah.
I do not have the disposition to do that. He wanted me to stop cowering. That's why he kept fucking doing that to me, but I didn't. Okay? Whereas my brother fucking got up and did it.
Yep.
And my dad goes, all right, it's time for you to move out. Like you're a man now. You are a man.
We have reached the point.
And
You have passed.
let me just tell you, this is what it looks like when you grow up. My dad tried that again. And I said,
To
go.
you?
Yeah,
you?
years
Okay.
later. And I said, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
And I disappeared for like 3 years. Because that's what a grown-up, that's how a grown-up cowers. I don't fucking need you.
Yeah,
I pay all my
just
bills.
walk away
I'm
and
just
go
gonna
back
fucking
to
leave.
my life.
I could literally leave
So-
your house.
I'm not sure if my dad loved that, but when he did it to my little brother, and my little brother fucked him up, my dad pulled a straight up Mike Tyson, bit the fucking ear
Oh my god.
and the back of the head.
Hell yeah.
My brother beat his ass. My dad comes back in and my mom goes, what happened? He goes, I lost. So I just wanted, I mean, I'm not going to ever, I told you so, my dad, but I want to be like, that's the difference between the motherfucker that cowered in the corner
Yep.
and the motherfucker that said, let's go, old man.
Yeah.
Okay? Which one do you like more? I don't know which one he liked more, but you can't.
But it's just a
treat all
difference in
kids the
person.
same.
Yeah, it's a difference in person.
Absolutely.
Certain things people respond to more than others. And to be a good parent is to figure out what that is.
Oh, yeah. And I feel like every child parent, like what you were talking about, every child parent relationship, it seems like with the dad too, hits a boiling point where some sort of confrontation does happen like that. I had one with my dad. I'm sure you've had some with yours. You've had some with yours. And it's always interesting how parallel a lot of them are with the before, the during, and the after. There's always the before. There's always the antagonizing, something that makes the situation hit its critical peak, and then there's the physical, the physical violence part. In your case, it was probably more verbal, not so much physical.
I mean, it was passive.
Very, very okay. Well, I mean, you're a very passive aggressive individual.
I really
so that makes a lot of
crumbled
sense.
every single time. To me, it was not worth it. To me, it was just like, why would I go through any kind of pain? Why would I, worry about hurting my shoulder or my hand or whatever? No one comes out of these things unscathed. I'd rather say, go fuck yourself. Have my mom hate you for 3 years because I won't come to the house ever.
Yeah.
Make your life a living hell, and then win at the very end when you say, dude, I'm so sorry. Whatever the fuck I did, please come back home. I'll treat you with respect.
I only squared off with my dad twice. The first time, that was when I learned that my dad has limits to how far I can taunt and take our shit talking.
Right.
Because we were in a very heated argument, and I've never been one to pull punches, especially in a verbal confrontation with family. So I reminded him that he was only taking his current position because of the place where he stuck his genitals in, which elicited a fight response from my father. The man who told me never sucker punch somebody my whole life fucking sucker punched me. Knocked me clean the fuck out cold. And when I woke up, the thing with my dad is no matter how bad I fucked up, no matter how bad he beat my ass or, chewed me out, he afterwards always let me know where I stood with him.
Right.
Like, look, I don't hate you. I'm not gonna fucking kill you. I just want you to know that what you're doing is stupid.
Right.
There was always that level of clarifications. Like,
And by the way, Vince's dad is like a Mankind McFoley type of build.
Oh yeah. He especially back in his truck driving days, dude. Those arms were meat hawks. Like he had ham hawks forearms.
Like a really, really firm round ball.
The fact that I took that punch and lived is a sheer testament to my durability and integrity as a human being.
It's so funny listening to those stories because the instances with like my dad and I are kind of like right in the middle of like how both of you like handled situations, like both of you with your parents.
Yeah, because you had there was a couple of times that you told me that got a little physical.
But like, and these are things that I never realized until like years after looking back in retrospect at these instances. But like there would be these instances where like things would elevate higher and higher and higher between my dad and I of like getting to the point of confrontation,
the antagonistic point.
The antagonistic point. And then we get to that point where we're in each other's faces, maybe one person's grabbing the other person's throat or getting ready to whatever it is, and then there's always just this weird stare down that my dad and I have.
And stare down.
But the thing is, it's weird because in retrospect I realize this now, just thinking back to the situation, being in these kind of situations with other people, of like neither one of us wanted to hurt the other person. Nope. That's the point we were at.
The other person is waiting for you to
exactly.
move.
So both of us are literally just waiting there. We're both thinking, I don't want to.
Weird.
Yeah, we're both sitting there thinking.
It's animal shit.
Yeah, and you're just looking at each other, and you both are thinking, I don't want to fucking do this, but God forbid if he does, I will. And you're just waiting for something to break it up.
That's why you see so much build-ups before a fight. Neither side wants to throw the first punch. Neither person wants to hit the other person.
That was always my dad and I. Neither one of us ever really wanted to get physical, but we were both willing to get physical. If you
state that in a fight, and you say first, you don't want to hit me, and I don't want to hit, or I don't want to hit, say, no, take you first. Because if you say, you don't want to hit me, he's going to fucking hit you. You say, I don't want to hit you, and you look like you don't want to hit me, so why the fuck are we doing this? 99% of the time, that will diffuse a fight.
That happened to my brother and I once. My brother and I, when we lived in our apartment together years ago, we had, I can't remember what the incident was, but like we got into a thing where like just elevate, and him and I were just getting in we had another roommate with us and stuff like that, and we were getting to the point where we were ready to throw punches at each other, and we literally sat there, same thing, we were looking at each other and stuff like that, ready to fucking throw it out, and it was my brother who goes, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
And we literally just gave each other a quick hug, went into our rooms, woke up the next morning like it never happened.
Yeah.
It's like people don't realize that, like you said, when fights happen, guys will never back down, or most men won't back down. But like
we're waiting for someone to come break up.
But we're waiting for somebody to come break it up. Exactly.
Really,
all the shit talking is just trying to buy yourself time so that later on you can go, ooh, if Tim didn't come in and break us up, I would have kicked his ass. I would have fucking
Y'all
in
are
your
awful.
mind, in
Nobody
your
would
mind,
ever want to
though,
hurt me.
Like in the back of your mind, you wonder, I'm gonna go back and see if he's still there.
Yeah,
and they're
yeah.
never there.
Yeah.
They're never there when you go back.
'Cause nobody
'Cause
wants
you're like,
to.
when you finally build up the courage to actually do it, and you try to go back and look for them, they're not there anymore.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
No,
my
if you want to get your
siblings-
punches in, get your punches in. Don't stand there talking smack. Just start swinging.
Yeah,
that's why I
exactly.
hate shit talking in a fight because when my blood starts rising like
Mm-hmm.
that, I'm ready to go. I'm not ready to talk. That part of my brain's gone.
Right.
So if I need to talk, it's very stuttered and incoherent sometimes. Like it's just well, yeah, you know what? Fuck you and stuff.
That's where I shine.
Oh man, no.
Yeah, you
That's where I
definitely shine with the
shine.
verbal abuse
Yeah.
for sure. The
Oh, if
verbal
I'm
attacks.
shooting insults across the room, I can go all day. But if we're going chest to chest, no, my brain shuts off. I'm just waiting for the impact of the first punch so I can start laying in.
My siblings think I'm an oracle. You don't fucking sucker punch Mahatma Gandhi. And that's what I am to them.
You
so.
wouldn't. I'm great at it.
Oh my god, but it's true though, like what you were saying, Vince, because I even think back to like this moment with like my brother and I, and like this was something that was like cooking the whole day, right? You know, it wasn't until like the end of the day when it like reached its climax.
Motherfucking unresolved issues,
You're
yeah.
right. Well, and I remember the entire like day, like working through my head, like oh, he does this, and like I'm gonna bitch at him for this and this and this, and then like I remember when we were actually in the moment, I literally just kept like yelling. Like I think I kept calling him spoiled brat or something, but that's all I kept saying.
You had built up an emotional like defense, basically.
Yeah, but that's like all I kept saying. Like everything else I had worked out in my head that I was gonna scream at him before throwing down just went out the window, and that was the only insult that just kept getting thrown at him. Because I just in the moment I just couldn't fucking think of
part of your
anything
brain
else.
just turns off,
Yeah.
man. You're not trying to communicate. You're at that point your brain stem's on fire. That's not the
Right.
part where you communicate. That's
Well,
your gray
and
matter.
that's why it's hard too when I get like angry at people, because I really do have points that I need to make to you, and I really do have valid reasons I'm angry. But the problem is during the moment when I am angry, and I can be angry for a long time, like I can't verbalize those ever.
You also have a Marty McFly trigger word. Unless
I do.
You still got
I've
that here,
gotten
Finn?
gotten better with it over the years, but
Okay.
yeah, I still have it.
As soon as Adam told me what this hairpin word was, this Marty McFly trigger point was, I made damn sure not to say it, because let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I have fought this man just playing around.
Yes.
And that is a fight each time we've done it that has just left us both frustrated, sweaty,
Just like, let's
and just
stop.
like,
Yeah.
why are we doing this to one another? We reached that point after the fight. We're just both
and you know
tired.
what? And I've had other friends who have done the opposite, where they learn that trigger. Well, you know, when I was younger,
Oh, yeah,
they learned
yeah.
that trigger word, and
They just dig it in and dig
and
it
they
in.
never
yeah.
called me it again.
Yep. Warning.
You know, warning.
Then demand, and then attack.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, I've gotten better with that word. The word's pussy, by the way, guys.
Such a
Like,
great word,
such
but
a
such
great
a hot
word,
button
yeah.
for
Such a
Adam.
disgusting word.
So you're physically repulsed by the female genitalia?
So much.
Wow.
So
What you
much.
came out of, man.
I know, that's horrible. I wish it wasn't, because I don't I feel like the type of woman that would get offended by the fact that I'm so repulsed by it is the type of woman that I get along with for whatever reason.
Okay.
It just seems like when I meet a girl that I think is kind of a, dumb basic bitch, she's like, oh my God, I hate that word. Seriously, thank God you hate it. Whereas like my friends and stuff from work, they're like,
Oh,
What?
so it's the word that
Or-
you're disgusted by, not
or
necessarily
the concept. Oh no, that too.
Oh,
Look,
really?
to me,
okay. From my perspective, I am not horrified by the genitalia of the same sex. I've seen it enough into my life
Mm-hmm.
to where I'm not. Oh God, put your dick away. It's like whatever.
Right.
You obviously have your dick out for a reason. I'm gonna go away.
Right.
Because usually it's involving something private.
Right.
So, but
or something funny.
Or something funny.
Yeah,
or something
yeah.
funny. Exactly. But no, I just I'm just not repulsed.
So
Essentially.
there's a couple components of it that's grossed me out. One is the mystery, the fact that the functionality of it is inside, whereas I feel that with a penis, there's no surprises. It's all there. You can lift up, you can look under, around. It's right in front of
I
you.
disagree. If you got foreskin and you don't know how to pull that stuff back, then you're gonna find surprises.
I also think that is weird. I do not have that.
Oh, the foreskin.
Yeah.
Okay. I do.
I think
Full
I think
disclosure.
part of the mystery of it is what kind of weirds me out about it. But even with foreskin, little pullback, little
It's a
sniffy
quick check.
sniff, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas a vagina, I mean, really, they could have quarters in there. They could have M&Ms.
They can store diaphragms in there. Even intrauteral devices for birth control.
Yes.
Stuff like that.
That's
Little
right.
plasticky
Yeah.
bits. You can hit
Absolutely.
if you go too hard.
So to me, that's really weird. Secondly, the whole cleaning itself thing weirds me out.
I think that's neat, actually.
I've never wait, hold on. I've never heard that.
it's like a
what's that
self-cleaning
about?
oven.
that's the menstrual cycle. That's
well
during menstruation.
Not that cleaning cycle. I mean, there's always a little bit of moisture in there because it's supposed to continue to clean itself
yeah.
and maintain
It
a
has
pH balance.
active bacteria and enzymes and stuff like that. And yeah, with the natural pH balance in the
Yeah.
human body, is going to depend on how healthy the bacteria is down
But-
there. Essentially, we're finding out now bacteria is good for you.
Right.
Yeah. Well, there's good bacteria and there's
Yeah.
bad bacteria.
Yeah.
And you actually choose which ones you want to breed in your body, but that's another.
Your colon does the same thing.
Yeah.
So
Your
okay.
stomach does the same thing.
Right.
All of it.
Okay, so same concept.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
yeah, different organ.
Also, the fact, like to me, it's like almost like a cut that doesn't heal. It even bleeds. Like, and your blood is supposed to have like platelets that like coagulate to stop, and it doesn't happen there. So it just, to me, it's just odd.
I'm just so like mystified by it. But you're describing all the reasons why I think vagina is metal. Like,
then
it really is like the most
some of
metal
them
thing out
are very strange looking. Like they look like the little curly things on a Jewish person. Those little twirly hairs that come down. You
there.
know?
On pubes?
No, the little inside lips when they come out and they look like chewed gum almost.
Oh, you're talking about women with like larger outer labias, stuff like that?
Interlabia that comes out and looks like all twisty, and some of them are tucked in.
People call it beef curtains, essentially.
Well,
or something
No,
like that.
it's I know what you're talking about.
no,
It's-
they look like
it's-
little tendrils. Like they look like little octopus like things. You've never seen this?
Never seen this.
Oh, yeah,
before,
it's
and
Okay,
I've
I feel like I have to
been
look up
around a
pictures
little
of
bit.
vagina.
But then
now,
there's
so
also
to
the
see what
roast
this
beef
is.
sandwich.
Oh, I see. That's yeah.
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 So to me, they're
I'm
just
not repulsed by that.
they're just very weird to me. And you know what? I'm glad. Look, one thing that people don't always acknowledge is, in some way, right, being a homosexual is a defect, not a bad defect, but look,
It's a genetic tweak, essentially.
sure. So your genitals are designed for two things, right? Urination and sex.
Yeah.
Copulation to
Yeah.
produce, to procreate, right? Reproduce. So my genitals do not have that function of reproduction because I can't, because I cannot.
That.
Oh yeah,
That's
no,
a
I'm down
prime
for
example.
that. I'm down for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm okay with that.
I just showed Vince a picture, by the way,
That
for
is,
people.
I
that is
cannot.
all right with me.
I cannot use mine to copulate with a female and produce young. So therefore, in some way, it's kind of defective. But I'm totally cool with that. My defect, in a way,
defective to what is considered the biological standard. But
with the biological purpose.
well, no, not even biological purpose, man. Because it's being shown now. Okay, since we talked about bacteria, bacteria does this really cool thing when it regenerates and when it grows, and it goes through hundreds of generations and the blink of an eye with how they reproduce and stuff like that. And it happens all the time in bacteria. You get certain strains of certain bacteria where they'll have offshoots or mutations of the same bacteria but with a little tweak.
Yes.
Now, what nature does this for is to see, I wonder if this will survive. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it doesn't. Homosexuals are now thriving and propagating in society to the point where now it's commonplace. So it's going to probably happen a lot. But now that it's more socially acceptable, you're going to see it a lot more.
I don't think something being socially acceptable affects biologically how something is created.
But it acts similarly.
So here's the deal with that. Like I've being a gay man myself, I have done a good amount of research on this, and look, if I cannot use my genitals to procreate with a female in some way, shape, or form, it is a deviation. I'm super duper cool with my deviation. I have no problem with it. It's like somebody who has like a streak of white hair. technically, by sociological standards, it's unattractive, right? Because you don't want to look old. You don't want to have that streak of white or gray in there. It signifies age.
I'm tight with getting gray hairs.
I think me too. Look, I rock it.
That's what he's talking about, though.
Oh.
It's associated, though, with getting
Age
old.
with something
I see.
negative,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
So, but some people are super cool with it. I'm cool with the fact that I was created gay. Now, as far as why people are gay, right now, the most like agreed upon consensus is while you are in the womb, okay, there are several factors that can contribute to whether or not your son or daughter, mostly son though, comes out as gay.
It's a hormonal balance. Yes.
One thing is if you are the last child of a lot of males. Your mother has produced a lot of men already, so it's already saying, let's not produce another male that is going to compete with these other offspring, for the gene pool.
Yeah.
Another one is, say your mother undergoes some kind of trauma while she's pregnant, but you're already a viable child. As you're continuing to grow, the female body is saying, all right, well, it looks like the environment in which this baby is going to be born is not going to be favorable.
Yeah.
So let's make this child in some way like sterile so that way it's not going to be reproducing in this less than premium environment.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's interesting. Yeah.
You're right. So, right now we don't know. It's not for sure. But right now, like all the TED Talks and everything, this is like the hot theory that everyone's really, talking about. And that's true in my case. My mom was going through a situation where, my dad is a drug addict. We'd have our air conditioner turn off. A tremendous amount of stress. My mom stresses horribly, okay? And then go figure, she has 2 children, second one being a girl who aren't in theory affected by these environmental changes.
Yeah.
The next 2 are boys, but this is happening after my mom is married to somebody new. We are very stable, everything's good, and she gives birth to 2 very, very healthy boys, and these aren't they don't have these issues.
Yeah.
And it's sad because my mom, and Adam was there, asked me, is it something that we did? Is it that you didn't have a good male, role model? And I had like the best male role model. I had a stepdad who took place of a deadbeat dad who showed me like what it was to have unconditional love.
Yeah.
Really, it's what my dad did while my mom was pregnant, according to this theory. So when really gay people are here to save the world. We are. We're here to not compete
That's interesting.
with the population of men who are qualified breeders, that are already before us.
And not to mention, y'all are preeners when it comes to women. You work in cosmetics. You're preening bitches all day long.
Yeah.
So if you want a happy, woman, get you a girl who's got a GBBF.
Yeah. I find that the stereotypical characteristics that gay men have, if you ask me, we contribute positive things to society.
Even historically, Leonardo da Vinci was, he was an open homosexual. Look what Leonardo da Vinci did for, not only the Renaissance but modern society.
Look what we like beautiful things, like to sing, we like to dance. We are pretty low drama when it comes to relationships.
No, not all gays. Hashtag not all gays.
I think most of us are.
I have met some gay couples that were very fucking tumultuous, both gay as well as lesbian.
And I don't think that has to do with them being gays or lesbians. It has to then do that. They have other characteristics other than being a gay or a lesbian.
No, for sure. But and that's I feel like that would be a problem too. When there are so few people who are out and willing to experience like relationships like that, you have a very thin pool to choose from.
Why?
As far as people and personality types.
Nowadays, not so much, but there was a point where that was the case. What's that?
Why do you think things like, and maybe I'm generalizing here, but just from living with you and meeting a lot of gays in my life and such, why do you think like some of those interests that you talked about are commonalities amongst the gay community? Things like dancing, singing, loving Broadway, loving musicals, like
so much so it's almost
why are those things commonalities, those kind of interests?
It's like a thing.
I've hard pressed to think of any gay I've met who's not into like Barbra Streisand and the different Broadway performances.
I've
and
met
performing
enough
arts,
though to know that there are exceptions that prove the rule. I love that. That
Right.
there are exceptions that prove that there is a rule and a trend
Yeah.
on something like that. But
Right.
but
But there
yeah,
are
the majority of the time
I mean,
you're
the old
spot
saying
on,
goes, "There's
yeah.
exceptions to everything," of course.
Yeah.
But I mean, the commonality amongst
I
it
think
all.
Yeah,
that
it's
it has to do biologically
Yeah.
with not competing with the men produced to be good breeding stock, honestly.
Oh, because even heterosexual males, what we do and what we spend a majority of our time doing is learn how to woo the opposite sex.
Right.
So while they're not doing that, they have time to hone their skills and their craft
also,
and enjoy the finer things in life.
there are
and not
some
have to worry
things-
about being a sweaty fuckboy.
There are some things that women are a little bit more drawn to, like singing, like dancing, and things like that. I find that gay people tend to align themselves a little bit more with women, and I think that is the reason why. I think it's so that we can bring a little bit more of the feminine energy. And because the thing is, if gay men were just like straight men, I mean, no offense, women can go a long time without sex. We really could replace you guys, unfortunately, as far as companionship.
yeah.
Okay? And women don't necessarily want to be around women all the time.
Oh, yeah.
So you can have a gay best friend, but they're never going to completely take place of a woman's man. You know, they need that complementary energy.
Yeah.
And so when you have a lot of men being produced, okay, you need to have these gay men not be competitive with men. And that's my theory. Okay, I've spoken a lot on this podcast about things that I haven't necessarily read or
Like
whatever.
we say at the beginning of every podcast, ladies and gentlemen, young, dumb, and full of opinions.
But I'm definitely that guy that lays down between 11 o'clock and 3 o'clock in the morning and just thinks, I wonder why this. Let me think back to my experiences and the experiences of those around me and try to piece them together. Because at the end of the day,
tracing the line.
that's where you have unlimited information from is your life and your experience.
Yeah.
You know, you
Right.
can only read so much, especially with how much these fucking blue screens are destroying our eyes.
No, and I fortunately am afforded the same opportunity to have too much to think. Because my daughter, she's got a 9:30 bedtime, and my wife works nights. So as soon as, baby girl is in bed, wife's at work, I just have me in my back porch and my incredible view of the superstitions. And it is really inspiring to be able to sit on my back porch and have all of my responsibilities taken care of and have time to, do just that. Consider and ponder life, the universe, the big questions,
Yeah.
Trace things back in your life to, why are people people?
And I hate to make a divide amongst people. I was just speaking to my brother. Me and one of my brothers are a lot more of the cerebral type, and then my sister and my other brother are a little bit more of the very worldly type. What's in front of them. That's it. And I think what really separates people who are cerebral and that are going to really be, in my opinion, movers and shakers in their lives and the lives of those around them, is the continuing to want to stimulate and develop your mind.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have to always want to make your mind better. And if it's a rare person that sees that as being very important. Don't you ever wonder if there's more? Don't you ever wonder if it's a way you can make it better or easier or more multifaceted?
You should check out the theory of neuroplasticity because it basically covers exactly what you're talking about. How at certain ages we become so ingrained in our ways and our habits that we no longer pursue different methods of thinking because we're now running in a pretty comfortable circle that seems to be keeping our survival and way of life on a certain track that we're enjoying.
Right.
If you keep your mind flexible, learn new concepts, try new languages, try new things, listen to new music, what you're doing is you're keeping the cells in your brain fresh. You're keeping the neural pathways open and you're allowing yourself to use more of your mind, essentially.
Well, and I think that goes in, and it's funny because they say doing things on a more grandiose scale of that gets you out of depression and anxiety.
Yes.
Because what we have found out, what I have found out personally, is what really drives people into that hole is doing a whole lot of fucking nothing.
Yeah.
So one of the ways to cure that is you go out there and you go out when people ask you to go out. You go dancing. You go do things you don't normally do.
Yes.
Because it helps you not only
normal...
understand who you are better, but it also helps you understand the world better. And the reason why why I think people like Justin, you know, is just this wealth of information is because you are somebody who your life has done that, you know. Oh, we're doing this. Okay, I guess we're doing this now, you know.
Like I need to plant a garden. All right, let me just figure out how to learn everything about plants. But I mean, we have to do that. And you know, it's something that just came to me is that, you know, my boyfriend is constantly battling feeling stale and a depression and this and that. And one thing I realize is, you know, he's really into setting up his future, but a lot of the time he forgets to really enrich his life in the moment.
Your boyfriend is younger, yes?
Yes.
How old is he?
34 minus 11. 23.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
And if he's listening, man, that's normal.
Yes.
That is a normal
Well,
way
I try to
feel.
explain that to him.
But
too.
really
it's hard to
hates the
explain
fact-
that to anybody
Yeah,
who's
yeah. I mean,
younger.
when I was that
you can
age,
hate on me all you want, but it doesn't mean it ain't true.
Yeah.
Don't make it not true, baby.
Right. But I
when
mean,
you're-
it's just like it's one of those like, because I get frustrated too with like his boyfriend in the sense of just that kind of
Just
information. Like
seeing
you're
it as an
younger, like you
objective
know, it's just like
perspective, yeah.
like take it from people who are older that this does pass. But you know, when we were 23, 24, you know, that's around the time I was like really in the heat of my, you know, being really depressed and shit,
Yeah.
you know, and I was told by countless people like it gets better, you know, and I was like, well, fuck you, it's not better now.
It's never
you
gonna
know?
get better.
Yeah,
You're not living
exactly.
through this.
You
Like,
don't know me. You don't know
Yeah.
you don't know what I've been through.
You don't know my truth.
Yeah.
Fucking bullshit. Yeah.
But that's the thing is, when you're that age, you're so obsessed with making your life further along, better. Where now I'm like, I don't care. I mean, I'm working my job. I'm paying my bills. I want to see the world. I want to do something different. I want to mix it up a little
Yeah.
bit in my life right now. I just want to change.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I'll be like really into birds, really into possibly breeding rabbits for meat and tanning skins, you know, or, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's important to get into those things, you know. And actually, one thing that I really appreciate about your wife is she gets super into the weirdest things. She gets decent at them.
Oh, yeah.
And she moves on. She's full of unfinished projects. But I
Oh, yeah.
watched.
We have a room
this
full
lady,
of them, actually.
I watched this lady buy soybeans and make tofu and soy milk at the same time, you know. And I personally would not do that, but I really admired the fact that somebody went through it to figure out how the fuck tofu and soy milk are made. You know, she sews, she does, you know, random this, random that.
This is why we're married right here, because it was shortly after we had gotten married, and she had come to live with me while I was stationed in Georgia. She asked me one morning before I was going to work. She said, "Hey, what do you want for breakfast?" And or it wasn't work. Sorry, it was PT. It was when so I was like, I was joking. I was like, I want a pancake witch, which is basically the bacon, egg, and cheese McGriddle. I only knew it as the pancake witch. I couldn't think of the words. And I was like, I want a pancake witch. And she knew what I meant. So she goes, oh, okay. So I go off to PT, not thinking anything of it. Come back hot, sweaty, hungry. I walk in my door, and she made, from the ground up, a sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddle. Now, I bet you're wondering. No, she didn't. She couldn't have made the bun. Yes.
They're pancakes.
Pancakes with flavor crystals of syrup. She learned how to make the fucking syrup nuggets that McDonald's uses, dude.
See?
She made a faithful and bigger, I might add, recreation of one of my favorite
And
McDonald's
if you don't
items.
mind me saying, cut me off at any point if there's too much going on. But this is somebody who works a tremendous amount of hours, and she works nights a lot of the time.
Oh, yeah.
And very, very long shifts.
Yes,
so
she
if
does.
somebody like this can go and do the same thing over and over and still find time to be like, today we're going to figure out tofu.
I feel bad because sometimes I have to kind of pull her back because, especially right now with her, you know, being pregnant with our second, she wants to start 80 million projects, but she can't figure out why A, she's so tired, B, she's so hungry, and C, why is my mouth so dry? Because you haven't drank water, you haven't slept, and you haven't eaten much in the last 24 hours, sweetie. So I've had to kind of rein it in a little bit, but I mean, as soon as, second baby arrives, I can take her off the leash and she can do all the creative stuff she wants, unless it's in my living room.
Right. Well, and to piggyback off of what you were saying, Justin, in regards to like how much she does, and even what you were saying, Vince, about how she'll do so much.
She
she'll
even let
forget
me
how to
be
drink and
here,
eat.
so like if that's not,
Well, but I mean, like that's one thing that. And this, don't get me wrong, this is something I personally struggle with, and I've talked to you about it before, Justin, but, like, one of the sayings that I hate is, like, oh, there's never enough time in the day.
Oh,
It's like, no, there is plenty. And I know this because, so, like, when I went through my breakup in October, like, my number one priority was keep my mind busy so I was not thinking about her, right?
Yeah.
So I truly tried to make sure that every waking second of my day I was doing something. And within that month, before I started to get, a little more over it, like I was amazed some of the day. I amazed myself some of the days of just how much I truly was able to accomplish in one day. I mean, I remember there was a day where Matthew and I, one of these days, like we cleaned we not only cleaned but deep cleaned the entire house. We took a few reptiles we had to the reptile store to donate. We took care of like a bunch of enclosures we had in the garage. We fixed 2 toilets.
Oh wow.
We did a lot this day, and this was one fucking day. And this wasn't like we woke up early.
Let me tell you, I came home from work. I was so happy. Trust me, later on.
Oh, you guys set the bar way too high for this.
My
guy.
boyfriend.
Then he's going to expect you to do that all the time.
My boyfriend was thankful to them too. That's how happy I was. It blew my mind. And trust me, no, this was not a day that I ever expected to be like super duplicated.
No, but it's one you've waited for since, Justin. I know you all.
I didn't even know I was waiting for it.
Well, now you
I was
are.
Like, I walked in, I couldn't believe it. I was like, is this real?
On some of the shittier days you've had, you've gone, I really fucking hope Adam and Matt have cleaned. I really do. You're just sitting in your car going, I hope that house.
For the record, sometimes I think that, and I come home, and it's clean.
Yeah. That's a good time right there. That's
it really is.
I have my sister-in-law living with us right now, and if she's listening to this, as always, I appreciate everything you do. She lives with us rent-free right now. Right. She got out of a really messed up situation with her baby daddy. So her and her daughter are living with us, and we don't charge her rent. She's family. That's the one stipulation I've always had is I'm not going to charge family rent.
And you hardly charge anything if you're not family. So
if you're
big
friends,
recommendation, move in with Vince.
If you're friends, you get a friend discount for sure. Yeah. But you're going to be living with 2 babies now, 3 soon. But she cleans whenever she doesn't have her daughter. She just slips right into that depression, and she does just that, Adam. Mm-hmm. She makes a list of shit she is going to do, and she kills it.
Yeah.
She has scrubbed my entire house. She does that on a frequent basis. I'll come home from work like around 6:30, and my house is immaculate.
Well, and let me say, after having that, because I've fortunately, unfortunately, the reason why I was in that state to begin with was because of what I was going through at the time.
Yeah.
But it was definitely this point too that I've always tried to get back to, and there are 2 sayings that I now truly believe, as should be fucking gospel, and that is 1, idle hands are the devil's plaything.
Yep.
And 2, an idle mind is the devil's playground. Like those 2 fucking things. And I was proven right through that month where I was making sure I was constantly doing, and I got a lot done that month. So when people say like, oh, there's not enough time during the day. Yes, there fucking is. I bet you binge watched Stranger Things 3 on Netflix, didn't you?
I still haven't even watched
There was
the
10 hours.
How many times did you hit your snooze button, bitch?
Yeah.
Because you went to work at noon.
That's a lot of people's
Well, and you don't understand.
mine.
We always put it in our minds how long something's going to take us, right? And like I said, we fixed 2 fucking toilets, right? Yeah. 2. We literally gutted them and replaced everything in them.
Hell yeah.
But it's something that was put off, and it wasn't necessarily put off because like nobody wanted to put in the work. It was nobody wanted to put in the time.
And effort.
I've
like-
never done it before, so I thought it was like an all-day thing. I thought you had to...
No,
Well,
you
and
can
that's
do a
just-
toilet real
Well, and
quick.
that's just it. All of a sudden, 2 toilets were fixed in an hour.
Yeah.
It's like, so people don't understand. It's like, or like we were talking today about laundry. Laundry to fold clothes really just takes 20 minutes. But in our
guys-
minds, we're like, here goes 3 hours of my time with
You guys
laundry.
want a tip on how to save time on laundry?
What?
Don't have so much fucking laundry. I have enough laundry to fill
Trust
half of
me,
a goddamn
I am
duffel bag.
working on it.
I can finish all of my clothes in a week. I do my clothes every week, not because I want to, because I fucking have to. I have to do them every week.
I really hate it.
I wear pretty much the same thing. Like I have a few seasonal change-ups. Like during the colder months, I'll either wear pants or a jacket or something like that. But it's pretty much just black t-shirt and shorts or blue jeans.
I have definitely been inspired, and I've watched a lot of these kind of YouTube videos of minimalists, and so I definitely try to kind of go through periods where I'm like, okay, I don't like I have all this shit. I actually went through one like almost a year ago now, where I literally kind of went through a lot of the shit that I had.
Did
in
you
my
do the
room
Marie
here.
Kondo thing? Does this bring
And-
you joy?
It wasn't even that. It was just like things like, for example, perfect example was there was a box of wires that I was carrying around with me everywhere.
Oh, the random wire box.
I carry them around with me.
I have one.
I carry them
Yes.
around with me when I lived with
It's
you,
now a
Vince.
drawer. It's now a drawer in my
Yeah,
house, and I think
well-
some of those old wires are in that
Yeah,
drawer.
yeah. Well,
so.
and like when I lived with you, when I lived with Justin, the apartment, when I lived with Thomas, when I left my parents' house, they followed me everywhere. And of course the
I see it.
motive.
I'm actually, ladies and gentlemen, I'm actually looking at the wire box right
No,
now.
I
no,
think
that
that's
one's
the reduced one.
So that's the
Oh,
reduced
that's the
one.
reduced box.
So because
Oh,
here's
cool.
what happened. So because the box of wires that I had, I got rid of it because because the only reason I kept it in the first place was like I'll probably need these at some point. Then after 3 fucking years, it's like I have never opened this box.
Yep.
So fuck it, and I threw it away. The wires you're looking at there, I literally know what all of those go to. I know that I use them still, on a regular basis. But like those were the things that I was going through of like, why the fuck do I have this? Why the fuck do I have this? I used to be really into like buying like anime figurines and stuff like that. Just a materialistic thing of having them.
Yeah.
And those were things too where I
Impulse
was
buys,
like,
stuff like that, yeah.
And those were things too where I was like, I don't really fucking need these. Like even my movies, I went through this thing where I was like, why the fuck do I need the cases to all my movies? I can literally just get a giant fucking CD case and put them all in there.
Even
And I
better
did.
yet, get you
Wait,
an
do you
external
wanna-
hard drive and just
do
rip them
you-
all to the
Yeah,
Question.
hard drive, man.
What?
Was it your intention to get rid of all those boxes?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, they're still in a bag in the garage. We're going to put them in the recycling bin?
Oh yeah.
He was saving them just in case.
I-
You might need them one day.
I can't remember, but there was a reason why I hadn't thrown them away yet, and I think is because I still have some that I haven't gone through yet. I think is what it was. But
I
yeah,
just
no, I don't need
purged.
them.
I know this is like a big thing that you're not supposed to do. Pictures. Sorry.
Oh, on
it
your
was
phone?
No, in a box.
Oh, wow. Hard copy.
I'm sorry.
Analog.
I'm sorry. I had to. There were so many pictures. It got to the point where it was getting so heavy, I had them in my garage. So the other day, we had a clean outside the house day because spiders had taken over like every little nook and cranny. They were crawling out. There was cobwebs. They were everywhere. I was getting bit. My dog was getting bit in the face. So we cleaned, and I'm literally hosing down the garage, Mexican style, right? I'm sweeping the
cobwebs.
yeah,
and,
with the broom. And I looked at the corner of my eye. I'm like, if I just throw these pictures away, and I don't even look what the fuck they are, because I have no idea what's in there. I can't miss them. And I did. I just grabbed it. I plunked them in the recycling bin, and I sent them out. And I'll never know what those pictures are. I do not care. But I mean, dude, they get disgusting, dusty, and then you gotta move them. Then you gotta store them. What am I gonna keep them for?
Well, no, that's the thing is nowadays you have photograph scanners where you just feed it through and it digitally uploads it.
Well, if
Well, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but that's my next step because, as you guys know, I own 3 fucking computers.
Oh wow,
So
yeah, you've hit.
So the reason
data.
why my iMac Vince was on the coffee table out there is because I'm literally in the process of clearing everything off of it and putting shit on like hard drives and stuff like that, and then I'm gonna be doing the same thing to my other Mac computer that
that's great.
Matthew uses, and then selling them both to Justin and Matthew.
Oh wow,
who use
okay.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
buy
keep them in the house. All
I'm
right.
buying the laptop. I'm literally using it as a word processor and internet browser. That's what I have it for.
That's why I haven't gotten another laptop, because basically they were just becoming like $700 porn machines.
Yeah.
I was like, nah.
Well, and the thing is, I'm somebody who like actually like uses particular software, and so I mean, like right now with podcasting, you know, or like when I'm editing pictures and shit like that. But like with my iMac out there, like it sat in my room, and literally the only thing I ever fucking used it for was the title screens for the Hardly Millennial podcast. That's literally it.
Nice.
It served zero other purpose. And I'm like, so this thing's taking up all this fucking room. Like, I literally have to have this fucking table because I just need something to set it on.
Folks, if you can be
And
in this room right now and look,
It's
like,
cluttered as fuck.
It's great.
Like, and I even told Justin yesterday, I was like, I get to this point where I don't even bother cleaning my room anymore because I'll do this thing where I get like all the microphones that we have here, I'll get them neatly put on the table, and I'll put these things, but it's all shit that I use, so it all gets pulled out anyway, and the second there's a fucking pair of underwear on the floor, my room just looks cluttered.
Ladies and gentlemen,
So
the
it's
next
like-
time that it's just me and Adam and he leaves the room, leaving me to talk to you beautiful people out there, I'm going to play an I Spy game in this room. I'm going to just look around and I'm going to tell you everything I see.
Everything you see.
Everything
There's
I
a
see.
lot.
There is. It really
There's a
is.
lot. Dude, I'm even to this point where like I have this giant queen size bed. I mean, how giant can a queen size bed be? They're all the same size.
We
But
always talk about
I
your
have a-
room whenever I come.
I
think
know.
I just
it's
realized
'cause
that.
it's like the bane.
I'm blown away by it. Like we do this in here. This is great.
It's because it's the bane of my fucking existence right now. Like, I truly want to get rid of this bed and just get a fucking futon for the sole purpose of just having more room.
You should just get like a really swanky
like-
cot.
Well, because I want to have like a place for people to like sit down and chill in here for future endeavors with
then-
Hardly Millennial.
yeah,
too.
futon would probably be
But
the
yeah,
be
yeah,
your
probably
best
be better
bet.
for that. But like, you know, because even my brother suggests, he's like, why don't you just get a twin size mattress and just put it on the floor? And I'm like, oh, yeah, but I could have a futon and have a couch and a bed, you know, in here. So it's like it's just the bane of my existence right now. I fucking hate this room just because of all the shit that I own. It just makes me want to get rid of shit, you know. But like this fucking box I have, let's just play I Spy right now. This fucking box of paint that I have just sitting on my bed. Like, I'd like somewhere else to put that fucking paint rather than a shoebox. It's easier to access.
I wish we would have done it when you set all the egg crates up on your wall, because I would have said, I spy a fuckload of egg crates. Guess where? Not where you'd think.
Dude, there's just so much, and that's a big thing with wanting to get rid of like a bunch of clothes, because I have so many clothes and I don't wear them.
I've always been minimalist, man. I don't know if it's just, you know, with the tumultuous life I kind of led after high school. I've always had enough possessions to be able to kind of carry on my back. I joke around, like I can fit like all of my possessions into my car.
See, well, and I could too, and
I've
did.
got a duffel bag full of clothes. I've got another duffel bag that I can fill with some knickknacks that I really care about, and then I have a couple of weapons. And
see, my problem is I've always been very materialistic. I always like owning things. So like the problem is with my age and stuff, you know, not so much now, but especially, well, probably so much now, but like especially when I was younger and moving around a lot, you know, especially I had that 3-year period where I moved like 5 fucking times, you know, and like I got to this point where I'm just like, I love buying things to like decorate my room with and everything, but like I have to transport all this shit every single time I go to move somewhere else. And I'm like, I would like to be the guy that's like, okay, I have a duffel bag and 2 boxes. Here it is.
Now this is my last stop. I have mahogany furniture.
Yup.
I have a bed that weighs 400 pounds, and I always have to have enough clothes to make sure that whether I'm 195, 215, or 245, I can wear clothes to work.
Yeah.
Those are like the 3 key weights right there.
I'm glad you're not like my dad, who is a serial renter, or up until recently was a serial renter, who had mahogany furniture, old
Lord.
heirloom dressers and cabinets and curios. Oh, moving him. So the last time he moved, I told him, I'm not doing this. The time previously, before this last time, because they're leasing to own now. I told him the last time that I had helped him move, I was like, I'm not doing this again.
This is the last time.
Yeah, this is it. The next time I'm buying you a moving company, and they're gonna do it for you.
Well, it's gotten to this point with me where it's like I literally, as far as like the clutterness goes, the minimalistic part of it, like I can't wait until I have to move next,
God.
because it gives me an excuse now where I have to go through everything and decide, okay,
Yeah.
When's the last time I actually looked at this? You know what I mean?
If you haven't touched it in 3 years, the last touch is going to be thrown in the fucking shit
yes,
can. Yeah.
exactly. And those are the things you have to ask yourself of like, what, like just kind of what you were saying. Does this really bring me joy?
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
does it really bring anything new to my life? Am I going to really miss this if it's gone? Is it replaceable? You know, when I need it again, is it something I can just buy again? All the anime figurines and the Alien versus Predator fucking like figurine shit that I had, like I had like 10 of them. I didn't need that shit.
I feel like a lot of the reason that we keep stuff like that is because of the sentimentality attached to it. Because I'm sure a lot of that stuff you were given like Christmas and birthday presents.
Yeah.
That's the main reason we keep a lot of that stuff, is we would feel guilty having to get rid of it. Well, I mean, if you don't want your kids to be settled down with shit, don't give them so much shit to be settled down with.
Yeah.
You know? But, I mean, what a parent's intention on what their kid's going to do with that stuff later in life, I guess that's not really up to them. Mm-hmm. So I guess it's not on your shoulders to worry about what they're going to feel like if you have to throw something away.
And if you're going to do that stuff, like, fine, but like allow your kids to kind of leave it behind.
You enjoyed it. You had your fun with it.
Yeah, but the thing that I kind of, with like my parents, for example, this queen size bed, right? So when they were first getting rid of this bed, it was a brand new bed when I got it. They literally got rid of it just because they didn't find it comfortable. And at the time, I had been just sleeping on a couch.
Well, that's what they were saying.
I had but I had a red couch that went with me everywhere.
I remember the red couch. Ladies and gentlemen, the red couch is legendary. May it rest in pieces.
Yeah, may it rest in pieces for sure. But like when I got this bed, it was when I was living in a closet.
Yeah.
At Danny's house, you know?
Yeah,
and the whole purpose was the red couch was going to go there. I would have still had room, whatever. And I was literally told, you either take this or we're throwing it away. All right, well, I'm not going to say no to a fucking queen-size bed, so I guess I'll take it.
Yeah.
You know, and I fucking took it and lived, you know, with literally everything that could fit in there was just like all the shit I owned around the bed. And I had one little walkway I had to like shimmy my way through to get onto the bed.
I remember the last few times coming over here, he would ask, you know anybody that needs a queen-size bed? Like, yeah, but nobody who has a fucking pickup truck.
Oh, God. I just need to get rid of shit.
When you finally get the chance to get rid of it, we should get rid of it Office Space style. You seen Office Space?
Where you just fucking destroy it.
And we got to put on a sick Ice Cube track, grab some baseball bats. There's a scene in a movie, Office Space, where they do just that on a printer. Mm-hmm. It's great. And it's actually really, really freeing. It's a good way to vent.
Yes.
To destroy a piece of inane property for no reason.
Just do it on someone else's property, please.
Right.
I don't want to dispose of it.
Oh, I see. You don't want us to set fire to a mattress in your front yard?
I don't even care about that. I just don't want a burnt mattress in my front yard. No one's going to take it. I know it. I know one's going to take it. I've got like 2 full-size refrigerators in my garage right now.
You could donate it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I mean, it's pretty bent to shit at this point just because I just have trouble taking care of it. And that's another thing. I fucking suck at taking care of, like, items that I own. My parents used to get so pissed off at me because they would get me whatever fancy thing for Christmas or birthday. And then within the next 2 years, it's like, oh, it broke, you know? I'm sorry. I just sucked at taking care of shit. I just do, you know? But it's like, I don't know. I'm just to a point now where it's like I just want to own as little as possible. You know, I want the most of what I own to be for stuff like the podcast stuff. I don't mind owning 3 light stands and a computer and 3 microphones and everything that, you know, comes with that kind of shit. Or all the foam that's on the wall right now. But when it comes to clothes and everything, I don't need 20 pairs of jeans when I wear 3 of them.
It is freeing once you've kind of reduced your inventory to Spartan levels. It really is. But I've hit a certain point now where I've kind of realized that I don't have to do that anymore. So I'm having trouble deciding, if I want to put something in the house, what do I want? I don't know, man. Maddie will give ideas, and I'll be like, no, because that's her idea, But I'll give it some thought, and if I end up
Eventually,
going with it, I'll give her the
it will be
credit,
all
but
her idea.
if I don't act now, if I don't do something soon.
Women are a lot more.
No, that house.
Patient,
We
the
were
wait.
we were
Well,
talking about this
yes.
earlier. If you were to walk into my house, this is how minimalist I am. You would never know I lived there until you looked left.
Right.
Yeah.
He has one room.
I have one room in the front that you could tell is mine because there's a big ass American flag on that wall, and it's never coming down.
That's where the pig used to sleep.
That's where the pig used to sleep, right under that flag, America. God damn it.
Speaking of which, you had told us earlier that you got a dog.
Yeah. So we got
So-
a Belgian Mal.
So how does the dog interact with your two pigs?
She is a natural born predator. Banditti is a killer, straight up. Her first couple weeks at my house, she was bringing me dead bunnies left and right.
Oh, God.
The first time she interacted with the pigs, immediately started hurting them. Started running around them, barking at them, nipping at their heels, making them move, which I don't know if y'all know, pigs hate doing. Yeah, just getting them up and getting them run. She was exercising the pigs. Every now and again, I'll take them out and I'll do just that, just so she can run around and play a little bit. They don't seem to have a problem with it until she starts nipping their ears,
Right.
and then that gets to be a problem for the pigs. But the dog is all energy. She's all love. The first morning that we got her, I'd forgotten we had chickens, and they're usually out on the porch about a specific time in the morning. Don't get ahead of me here. So I'm going out onto the back porch. I just woken up. I'm going to let the dog out to go to the bathroom. And I opened the doorknob and I turned that door open. That dog saw chickens, and immediately, within a fraction of a second, it went from peace and quiet to utter pandemonium on my back porch. There were chickens screaming. There was a dog jumping. There was feathers. It was a couple seconds of extreme panic, and then me realizing, oh shit, no, dog, don't do that. But she was like, birds, ha!
Good dog.
Yeah,
Good
right.
dog.
Well, she's a birder. She is a birder. She has made some pretty incredible leaps at birds so far. But she's high energy. I love that dog. My wife hates this dog. Poor thing. And it's because, honestly, the dog has pissed her off, legitimately.
Yeah.
She's tried planting flowers. This dog just doesn't like change. When you change something in the house, she takes it
She's just
personally.
not a fan of it.
She just gets all twitchy. She'll dig up flowers. And this last weekend we were making cupcakes. Maddie left butter out on the counter to firm. Guess who jumped up on the counter and got herself 2 sticks of butter? That's right, old Banditti. Yes, she did. Dog eating 2 sticks of butter. She didn't fucking move for the rest of the night.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Didn't feed her the next day either. I was
That's
like,
what
no,
it's like to have a
you-
bulldog, by the way. They don't move for the rest of the night.
That dog ain't getting up on that counter though. I think that bulldog, anything you put about a foot over its head is safe. I don't think English bulls are meant to jump.
He tries.
So, dude, I've been eyeing your energy drink here. That is an energy drink you're drinking.
This is,
right?
yeah.
Okay, so I've been
It says
eyeing it.
keto.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna comment on. I've been eyeing it for a little bit. It says keto on there, so it's a keto energy drink.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
I'm doing
still
a
here
I
to
guess I'm
look
doing
at
a
it.
plug for this right now. It's called it's called Meltdown, and I get it at the Quick Trip.
it literally has ketones in it.
Yeah,
It
I'm
has,
fueled on
uh,
straight ketones right now,
7,500
man.
milligrams of ketones in it. I've never heard
No
of something like
calories?
this.
Oh no, there's calories. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Only 18.
On an empty stomach, it's too much. It is too much. You have to. I have to eat a little bit before.
Do you mind if I take a
this.
sip of
Go
it?
for it. Go
I
for
want
it.
to see what's in it.
Everything the body craves. I'm just kidding.
It's actually pretty good. Ingredients: carbonated water, phosphoric acid. Sorry, it's like a gleaming holographic bottle.
Is there a lot?
Natural
of ingredients?
flavors: sodium benzenate, sucralose, and potassium sorbate.
Yeah.
So you can have sucralose on keto?
I mean, not from our research, but you know what I think it is though, because it has ketones in it. And remember, we've talked about to where if you're already fat adjusted, it's easier to where like, because they have pills and stuff of ketones and stuff you can take.
Yeah.
And different things like that. So I think maybe it counteracts it. I don't know. Maybe it keeps your body in a state of ketosis because of how many milligrams.
I wonder
of
if you could
ketones.
fast
All I
on
know
those.
is if I've got $4.59 plus tax and I'm at a Quick Trip, I'm getting one of these. And
I mean, I guess it was
get,
just a matter of time before they came out with a keto energy drink.
I'm gonna get through my day. So, no, these things are great, man. They really are.
Damn.
They even they work well as kind of a pre-workout. I've been in tight situations where I've run out of pre-workout, and I'm like, oh, well, guess I'm getting a meltdown. So I go grab one, chug it like fucking Popeye and his spinach.
Sodium, potassium, magnesium, and calcium. This is literally snake juice.
Yeah.
That you can totally
Snake
just...
juice with,
You
flavor.
can fast on that. You
Yeah.
can totally fast on that.
Except for maybe the
Yeah, 0 sugars, no carbs.
If it's 18
Nothing
calories,
artificial.
you can totally fast on those.
It's mostly like
Interesting.
the caffeine is derived from tea, so it's a hell of a lot of concentrated tea caffeine. So
damn.
yeah,
Good
stuff,
job,
man.
Meltdown.
And that's why you should buy a...
That's why you should get one.
Guys, I'm telling you.
Meltdown right here, Meltdown. It's not a game. If you drink one, you'll have a literal fucking meltdown and start talking about how Democrats in Washington are fucking lizard people. Sorry, I won't
Turn a frog gay.
It'll turn a frog gay, goddammit. Let me tell you what, I've been drinking, I drank California water the first 14 years of my life. I didn't turn gay, so. Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
It's a slow moving.
It's a slow burn.
Takes about 18 years.
Takes
Talk
18
to me.
And a lot of brushing your teeth.
All right. Well, I've noticed a couple of little pauses in our conversation here. So unless
It's because you're getting all droopy-eyed over there, Adam.
I'm not even droopy.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm really fucking tired, and I slept like
Okay,
26
alright.
hours today.
Well,
so.
and luckily,
I'm down to keep talking if people have more to talk about. But
I'm usually just feeding off of you guys most of the time, just kind of keeping up with the flow of the conversation.
I'm yawning. So.
This is monumental though, because this is the first podcast in the last several times I've been on the podcast where it has been a late one.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
What time is it anyway?
I got here at 6:30.
Oh yeah, it's only 9:30. I remember the last time we got here was like 10:30.
Yeah.
And I remember the first
And-
one we did, we were like, okay, we're
bless-
gonna try to do this, guys.
Again, bless
but-
my wonderful wife. I get the text, and I even preemptively sent Adam a text. I was like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it tonight, man. I'm sorry. And I'm going into the bedroom. I'm about to get ready for bed, and she goes, "What were you doing out there?" And I was like, "Oh, I was just texting Adam." And she goes, "Why? What's up?" I was like, "Oh, he asked me to be on a podcast, but I figured it was too late." She goes, "Well, I mean, if you want to go do it." I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me right
That
now?"
was tonight?
No.
this
This was like the
night.
first
Oh,
late
okay.
night podcast we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, no shit. I got out here at like midnight. I didn't get
Yeah.
home till like 4 a.m.
Yeah, we
Oh,
started
wow.
late. And,
You're-
I shoved down an energy drink, and even with
I
our
had, like,
energy drinks, we
3.
were just
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Oh, it was great. I think
They're
that was a new start. I think that was what
That was literally the first
That was
one
a new start,
for when we started doing the weekly podcast rather than the daily podcast.
yeah. Yep.
But if you're tired, Justin, you can get up and go, man. Me and Vince can carry our own.
Oh, if you're gonna continue, oh yeah. All right. Well, it was super awesome to be here. I was gonna stick it out if it was gonna be over soon. But if you guys are gonna keep going,
Well,
then
I do have to hit the old dusty
All
trail.
right, well then
though,
let's just end
but-
it here then. Yeah.
Okay, the logical closing point.
Logical
Let's not force
closing
it,
point.
ladies and gentlemen. That's how you get what are they called? Hemorrhoids. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for listening to tonight's podcast
We
with
love you, beautiful
with
people.
Justin, Vince, and I. Remember, you can follow us on all the social media platforms. We also have a Patreon, www.patreon.com/heartily-millennial. And any final thoughts, Justin?
Hashtag #Me2 if you like food.
Oh, okay. Any final thoughts, Vince?
Since Keanu Reeves trending right now, hashtag be excellent to one another.
All right. All right. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a lovely rest of your week. We will see you next Monday.
Bye-bye.
Mwah.